Welcome back everyone to the F1 2017 career mode, and it's season 2, the Malaysian Grand Prix. One of my favourite tracks on the calendar, but one that has not delivered, like I said, coming off the back of Singapore. And you know, I mean, it's just weird. There's a few corners on here that just don't appear to suit the McLaren. Like the back end just drifts out a little bit, and it's all just a little bit floaty. But nonetheless, I don't think, like, I'm trying to remember back to season 1. And I don't think we got exactly the best result around here, but you know, I'm always trying to push the car forward because you know we're getting into the thick of the midfield in this particular season, and obviously we're trying to build up towards season 3 to mount our massive challenge. So into qualifying, the sun is setting on a Saturday afternoon here in Kuala Lumpur, and we are charging towards the long right-hander of turn 1, 197 miles an hour, hitting the brakes at the 100-meter board, bringing the car around. It's just a very long 180-degree corner, and then we get a sharper one for turn 2. Try and obviously get the car straightened up and on the power as best you can. Then it just flows through turn 3, up towards turn 4, 185 miles an hour before you hit the brakes just after the 100-meter board. And it's this turn 4 where I either have to just ease the car in and be late on the throttle, or if I'm going to be early on the throttle, the back end steps out, and it's just really uncomfortable for the car. I've gone far too wide in the left and right there, so that was cost me quite a bit of time as we now come through to the double right-hander. Once again, the car just sliding. I was too committed. I felt the car had, or I thought the car was more planted than it actually was, and that's cost me a bit of time as we now come towards a hairpin. I've once again just missed my braking point. I was pushing far too hard to overcompensate for the lack of performance in the car is a bold way to put it, but I suppose really that's the best way. I'm trying to get myself up the grid by realising that I have a few issues with the car, just getting dialed into the circuit really, and then we take possibly the hardest corner on the entire calendar of the penultimate corner there. It's just so hard to figure out where the apex is, where the penultimate turn point in is, but we're at the back straight right now, building up 195 miles an hour once again before hitting the brakes, bringing the front end around nice and tight on the exit, opening up the steering, DRS open as soon as we can, charging towards the line, and it's 3.2 seconds off the pace. It's a 34.7. Not great. So, you know, here we go, second lap. Take a big old wide line out the final corner, DRS open as soon as we were 17th off of that qualifying attempt. If you even want to call it an attempt, it was pretty bad. And then annoyingly enough, as I come out, cars are exiting the pit lane. Danny Rick's going to be right on the apex of turn 1, so we have to go around him. That costs us a huge amount of time on the Delta, and it obviously just ruined my first sector completely. But now we come through the second sector where we lost a lot of the time on the first lap, much neater through 5 and 6, and we're now up to a positive Delta through the double right-hander. To get a bit too tight on the first one means I scrubbed a bit of speed and had to go out wide on the second one. But even then, we're still just under half a second up, and we're going to be a lot tidier through the hairpin. Still going a little bit wide and drifting through the corner where the car's just very uneven. Just again, I have a lot of issues with the ride height around this circuit, but we now come back into the final sector. We got a good bit of slipstream off of Marcus Ericsson on the back straight. Can we get any as we charge towards the line? It's going to be just over half a second improvement, and gets us nothing. Gets us P18. Is what it gets us in qualifying for the Malaysian Grand Prix, with Alonso up in 7th. Very disappointing, that one. Very, very disappointing. So, yeah, we were 7,000th in the end off the back of the Williams. Yeah, it's a track I really struggle to find pace around. It is very frustrating for me. So obviously we're just going to have to fill the car up with fuel and utilise the rich mix as much as possible. The game was trying to get me to do either a 2 or a 3 stop. So once again, I'm opting for a 1-stop strategy, going from the soft compound tyre at the start of the race, making that go as long as possible, then swapping to the mediums. It's the only way I see myself getting up the field. I just don't really perform at this track, even though I would consider it my favourite. I don't understand. Like, you see a lot of people, their favourite track they do really well at, but not me when it comes to Malaysia by the looks of things. Let's hope we can rectify that, because obviously Malaysia very late in the season. If we are challenging for the title next year, then we are going to want to see some kind of improvement there. We come round and we now build with the lights. Lights are out, away we go for the Malaysian Grand Prix. kind of a decent-ish start. Stroll bogging down in the second phase. We've got the cars very much double file. Now cars are jostling for position. We're on the outside as we go towards turn 1, which is going to be nice and careful. Go around the outside of the Haas drivers. We've got a good run here. Unfortunately, it's going to mean that down the inside, Hulkenberg has to leave us the room, but he's going to get a better run on the exit. We're up to 14th already. We're going to slot up behind the Renault car of Nico Hulkenberg. Can we look to do anything up into turn 4? A lot of cars once again trying to move for position. We're going to go down the inside of Hulkenberg, and you just see there just having to really counter steer into the corner. The car just not enjoying turn 4 whatsoever, but we're up from 15th to 13th by the end of the first sector. Pretty impressive moves, and we now try and just have to cling onto the back of the cars ahead, because like I said, I don't really have a lot of pace around here. Come the end of lap 2, Hulkenberg is already trying to attack us for position into the final corner. We've braked nice and late though. That is going to leave the door open for Hulkenberg, so we can dive it down the inside, but we do then go back into his slipstream as we do a 39.0. That's over 2 seconds slower than Hamilton's fastest lap, and we now pull out of the slipstream, go down the inside of turn 1. We force Hulkenberg wide. That means he could have had another go into 2, but of course we're going to squeeze him out. The race engineer said that Sainz had an issue, and you can see him really slowing everyone out the exit of turn 2 just there. Ocon's managed to pull ahead there, and we're up into 10th. We're in the points paying position, so Sainz's issue, you see the wheel up in the air. He's got a right rear puncture on the super softs as we've started lap 3, and it's just caused a little bit of a train. We went sweeping around the outside, and Sainz has really slowed up a lot of guys there. And I believe Sainz is actually our current rival. I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but now we get a VSC for Daniel Ricciardo being out of the race. He's pulled off over on the left-hand side there. So we now have jumped from 13th to 9th in the span of a lap. It was then just getting our head down and doing what we can. By lap 6, we are up into 6th place. With a few cars have made some very early pit stops, but yeah, the car's just not feeling very good. It's basically a matter of damage limitation this Grand Prix, scoring points if we can. Sebastian Vettel has made an early pit stop, and he's currently battling Danny Kvyat, squeezing him out of the final corner. Now Vettel's going to duck into our slipstream, obviously, and it's already saying that Ocon's a second lap faster. I don't even want to know how much faster Vettel's going to be as he's down the inside of us into turn 1. What can we try and do? We go round the outside, back down the inside of turn 2, but Vettel takes the wider line. Super soft tyres, newer tyres, grippier tyres, and just look at the launch he's got in that Ferrari, just that superior downforce. Now come lap 8, Vettel has already disappeared completely up the road, and it's only like a lap and a half later. What's the gap? It's already, he's got 5.5 seconds on us. We have no pace around this circuit. In fact, we go out very wide. I just couldn't get the front end to turn in. That's the the Toro Rosso of Danny Kvyat pulling ahead of us, and we've got the Renault of Hulkenberg and a Mercedes behind us, who I'm going to say is Lewis Hamilton, but we send it up the inside of the penultimate corner against Danny Kvyat, just sort of sliding through. That is, see what you say in the comments. I want to see comments down below just in relation to that there. Is that the hardest corner in Formula 1? I personally believe it is on game to get right. So, more cars in the pit lane as we come to the end of lap 8. Vettel in again? That's the second pit stop. Or did Vettel start down the field? I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, what that actually means is that on lap 9, it's a McLaren 1-2. Alonso's coming in for his first pit stop. That leads me to believe he's on a 2-stop. We're, of course, staying out. Valtteri Bottas on the soft tyre. We've held him up, and we've held a lot of the field up. And you see that very tactical move of just lifting off to allow Bottas to pull ahead, so we were then able to cut underneath him. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite the wily old fox move, because I didn't quite get the braking quite right into turn 1, but we're in Bottas' slipstream. We're not really gaining as he's got DRS. Are we going to go for the lunge? Yes, we do. I thought about it for a split second, but then, as in Danny Rick, sometimes you just have to lick a stamp and send it. That's exactly what I did. Unfortunately, Bottas there able to cut underneath us at the exit of turn 2 with his superior traction, but we're going to stay in the slipstream of him. Alonso has come out on super soft tyres. He's in P3. Can we make a lunge on Bottas into turn 4 to try and back him up? The answer is no. Unfortunately not. I wanted to play the team game and just back Bottas into Fernando Alonso, but you can see now by the end of lap 10, Alonso has caught me. So I'm just sort of keeping my eye out. Alonso is the one in contention this Grand Prix, not ourselves. So I'm just going to, just going to ease it off into the final corner. I was hoping Alonso would go for some kind of dive, but he didn't. We're just going to let him through. Unfortunately, we've been a bit too generous on that, and Max Verstappen has pulled ahead of us, but we can go to Rich Mix, pull into his slipstream, and hopefully we'll be able to re-overtake him into turn 1 as we pull side by side with the Red Bull car. A little bit of tyre contact by the sounds of things, but we're going to push him out wide. He's going to try and lunge it down into turn 2. We're going to cut him up and say, no, Max, you definitely are not making that move stick. And we are going to sit in front of him like a mobile chicane and make him work his way around us while we allow Alonso to chase after race leader Valtteri Bottas. I don't know how successful that's going to be. All I know is at the end of lap 11, I've got next to no grip left in these soft tyres, and Verstappen, even though he didn't actually try and make a move on us, has been able to get past us. But we're now going to pull out of his slipstream again, go down the inside of turn 1. We've got the Force India of Sergio Perez behind, so we get this lovely overhead shot, pushing Verstappen out wide once again because the car just won't turn in. That turns to the inside line, trying to defend ourselves from Perez. We then, Perez didn't get the best run out of turn 2, but it does mean he got the position over Max Verstappen. And then by the end of the lap, he's trying to get past me in a straight line, coming towards the final corner. Of course, we are actually peeling into the pits this lap, so we can carry a bit more speed, just hold the car as tight as we like, and then we're able to just shoot it straight into the pit lane for our one and only stop of the afternoon. As we come down the pit lane, apologies for that. It's very, very hot in the UK at the moment, so I just sort of had to take a wee bit of a drink. I do apologise there. But pit stop by the McLaren boys, 2.3, nicely done. Unfortunately, there's a big old gaggle of cars that have now come out ahead of us there. So total time lost in the pit lane is going to be around 25 seconds, 25 and a half seconds. But we've now come out on medium tyres. We're going to the end of this Grand Prix. We're a long way ahead of Lance Stroll. Don't know what's happened to him this Grand Prix. But we're not going to the end on the medium tyres, so we need to just get our head down and just go as quick as we can. I know that the mediums aren't great around Sepang, but got to do what we got to do. Lap 18, Ocon is coming out of the pits on a fresh set of soft tyres. He will be going to the end of the Grand Prix on that set, and he's pulled just ahead of us. I was hoping to try and make some kind of move around the outside of turn 1, but Ocon is just going to be able to pull away from us there on that softer rubber out of turn 2, and it means we're not going to be able to challenge him into turn 4, which was a little frustrating, but it just means hopefully I can sit behind him and he can help pull me forwards through the pack there. But you can see by the end of the lap, Ocon's just too fast. But we've got other cars in the pits, in fact multiple cars in the pits this time around, and we're going to jump up into P9 by the looks of things. Yes, P9 at the start of lap 19. I don't know if any other cars ahead still have pit stops to make. I'm kind of hoping they are, but we've managed to elevate ourselves into a points paying position so far this Grand Prix. Let's have a look by the end of lap 21. What's the gap? We do a personal best on a 38 flat. That's not exactly anything to be excited about, but we're now split by Ocon, who is a long way ahead of us, and Massa is 2.7 behind us. So we're now very much looking in our mirrors by the looks of things and just making sure the cars behind us don't really catch us. However, lap 23, end of lap 23, Massa is up behind us. We've gone out wide. That's unsettled the car as we turn into the penultimate corner. And that's going to allow Massa to pull into our slipstream and have a bit of a run on us with that Mercedes power low drag setup of the Williams. He's down the inside. What can we do? Round the outside of the final corner. Massa breaks early. I'm trying to go around, hold as much grip as possible. Massa's been able to get a better run on the exit, but we can sit in his slipstream. He's got DRS, so it's going to be a bit harder for us to keep up with him, but by the second phase of the straight, we're gaining. Massa goes slightly defensive, nothing too ambitious there in his defensive moves. So we're going to lunge it down the inside. We go wide due to the late braking. That's going to mean Massa's going to re-overtake, so we have to be bold into turn 2 and sort of force him out wide a little bit, and that allows Nico Hülkenberg to shove him onto the grass. Elbows out from Nico just there, but that means Hülkenberg is going to be up into P10, and by lap 24, Hülkenberg is on the rampage, trying to come down the inside once again. A carbon copy of the move Massa just tried on us there, so once again we're going to brake late, run wide a little bit in the final corner. Hülkenberg wasn't actually able to get underneath us just there. I don't know what's happened to him. He's lost a lot of time, because that sort of became our trademark in keeping up with people. Just run it a little bit wide, carry the extra speed on the exit, and just make up as much as we can on slipstream. But here we go. Lap 25, end of lap 25, we've once again had a horrible run. I just found on the medium tyre, the car was just drifting wide in that corner, and now Hülkenberg's all over us. Did the dummy to the right, Now tries to move to the left. Thankfully, a yellow flag for Massa. Whatever issue he has had meant Hulkenberg couldn't actually try and overtake us into the final corner, so we were able to take sort of a more normal racing line. Massa peels into the pits. I don't know if he's got some kind of puncture. No, another car. There's a slow car at the back there. That'll be Felipe Massa. Hulkenberg's had a brilliant run, though, as he now tries to go to the outside of turn 1. Brakes later than us, so we've got to try and, you know, fair play to Nico. That was a very, very good attempt at a pass, but we just basically ran it out wide, got on the throttle early, ran it out wide, and meant he couldn't carry the inside line into turn 2. 3 laps to go in this Malaysian Grand Prix, and we're defending 9th place. I'm kind of surprised we're actually up in the points. The one stop has actually worked, albeit when we're taking lines like that into the penultimate corner, we're not going to stay there for long, as Hulkenberg is through already on the straight. He's still going to have DRS as well, so that means he's going to be pulling ahead of us the whole way down the straight. We're in rich mix, burning what little fuel we have left. We're going to go down the inside into the final corner. There should have been a detection zone. Do we get DRS? Our answer is no, but thankfully we were able to push Hulkenberg out, so he wasn't able to make any kind of attack on us into turn 1. That said, we're now on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, going through their hairpin. Once again, back end, just wanting to slide. I had that the whole Grand Prix. I was just wearing out my rear tyres, and obviously, the more you slide, the more you wear out the tyres. The more you wear out your tyres, the more you slide. That sentence structure for me was just abysmal. But yeah, it was a constant battle the whole Grand Prix, meaning that my traction was abysmal. And by sort of lap 27, coming on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, Hulkenberg had his best opportunity yet to stay ahead of us, but just utilising that rich mix and the extra power we've built up over the seasons of the Honda engine, we throw it down the inside of turn 1. Just no right for Hulkenberg's position. We were either going to take the position or hit the Renault. Thankfully, we managed to keep it clean. He tried, sort of had a half-assed look into turn 2, but wasn't able to materialise anything. Here we're going to see it from Hulkenberg's perspective. Look, he thinks about it for a brief second, kept the line. But yeah, obviously, if he had just slammed the anchors on, he would have collided into our side pod and caused a big old bit of damage. It's going to be a race to the line here, as Hulkenberg is still trying to get past us there into the final corner. In fact, Jolyon Palmer in the Renault has come out of nowhere to go round the outside. Is he going to beat Grosjean to the line, I wonder? The Renaults are side by side. Palmer's done his teammate in the final corner. Props to Jolyon Palmer. We come across the line running completely out of fuel, but it's 9th place.
Here come our winning drivers then, out onto the podium at the end of a thrilling Grand Prix. The drama and excitement are over, and it's time to let it all sink in. Congratulations to our top 3 today.
So Bottas wins the Malaysian Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel coming home 2nd, Hamilton 3rd, and Alonso coming down in 4th, but still up from his 7th place grid position. Then comes Kimi Räikkönen, Max Verstappen, Perez, Ocon, myself, and Palmer round out the top 10. We then have Hulkenberg, Magnussen, Stroll, Grosjean, Wehrlein, Kvyat, Ericsson, Massa, Sainz as our finishers, and Danny Rick out of the race. We're 3rd in the Drivers' Championship, defending off Räikkönen. We're only 4 points ahead of him and not too far ahead of Sebastian Vettel. So it's a big old fight for 3rd place in the Drivers' Championship as this season comes to close out. And Red Bull, only if they really start to get on form anytime soon will be if we lose 3rd place. I think we've got that kind of nice and secured. Hopefully Alonso will be very consistent with his results going forward, because that 4th place, he's back in the running now. That probably had some kind of benefit from myself of being a mobile chicane at some point in the Grand Prix. But hey, whatever way Alonso wants to get those points, I am happy with that. But guys, that has been the Malaysian Grand Prix of Season 2. I hope you have enjoyed. Remember to leave a like if you have, and comment in feedback down below. That would be very much appreciated. Next time out, we have one of my new favourites to drive on the game, the Japanese Grand Prix. It's been reworked with all the camber, and it is a hell of a lot of fun on low fuel runs. We, of course, have to perform in Japan because it is our engine supplier's home race. We don't want to disappoint those. And I believe we got a podium last year, maybe? I honestly can't remember. But let's hope to put in some kind of similar performance. I will see you all next time.